My name is Judith, and I'm from Germany, and I'm 17 years old. I live in a village of 3,000 or 4,000 people. My father is a teacher, and he told me a lot about the Holocaust and things that happened. I have grandparents that, in a way, don't talk about it, and older people don't talk about the Holocaust and what happened because they're scared. A lot of them just say they didn't know what happened, and like my grandma tells me, she thought that all the Jews were brought to America. We had a lot of Jews in my village, and a lot of them were rich. Most of them were rich. There were like 3 families that have been living there for a couple hundred years and really were into the village, like integrated, and nobody knows what happened to them. And just one lady that was left over, and she died a couple years ago.
You said that there was a Jewish cemetery even in your village.
Mm-hmm. We have a Jewish cemetery, and it's not very big, like 50 or 60 gravestones, and I think 6 or 7 families, like always the same name occurs, and it's pretty run down right now because nobody is doing anything for it because we don't have Jews anymore. And I think we had a Jewish community with a synagogue, and but I mean
not in
everything's
your
torn
time.
down. No, not in my time. Everything's torn down in 1939. Nothing is left over.
As you were growing up, do you recall when you first became aware of things that had happened?
My parents started telling me about it like in 3rd grade. It wasn't to avoid because you see it on TV, you read it, people tell you about it. And when I first heard about it, I was really shocked, and I didn't know everything. I just knew a lot of people were killed, and one man did it. Like, people told me Hitler did it. And I went to this Jewish cemetery, and I looked around, and I didn't believe it. And my dad told me about it, and like in 5th or 6th grade, we started talking about it a little bit in religious education. I saw, it was at the time, I think, in 1980, maybe a little bit earlier, we had a movie called The Holocaust. But my parents told me you don't have to watch it because it was really bad. And
did you watch it?
I didn't actually see how people were killed. I remember these pictures of walls and people standing there being killed, but I just saw pictures. And I remember people laying on top of each other, killed dead people, dead bodies, hungry people starved to death. That's what I saw. But,
and it bothered you?
Yeah, sure. And I saw these experiments like some doctors did with twins. That's what I saw. And I don't feel responsible at all. When I talk to my family, I think my dad has a closer relationship to it because he knows, like, not actually his dad. My grandpa was in the army, he says. My family doesn't have anything to do with it directly, but I don't know, like my uncles and neighbors, and I don't know who did it, and it's closer to my dad because it's his generation, his parents. And
do you see any regret, or do you see just that people don't want to talk about it?
when you ask older people, they tell you they didn't know. And I don't know whether I can believe it or not. I live in this village, and it's not a big city, and I don't know what they did. I love my grandma, and I cannot believe that she supported it. But in a way, I don't believe her when she tells me she thought everybody went to America. I don't know what to believe. I just know that people just don't want to talk about it and want to forget it, and suddenly nobody did it. I remember a story. In my village, there was a family, and they were really patriotic, and they loved Hitler. And the young son was in the party and supported Hitler, and his own mother, said one time that she questioned it, and she wasn't sure whether it was right what they were doing. And this man went to the party and told on her. And there was this twist in between the families. I mean, it must have been really radical, what people thought.
It's hard for you to imagine today.
I cannot imagine to tell my mother. I mean, how strong do I have to believe in something to tell my mother?
Yes. What is your life there like here? You went to high school here for a year. Is it similar there where you live? What young people do and how they feel and how they act?
American kids are more influenced by, I mean, everybody's influenced by society, and I think American society is more materialistic, that kids have to have a car and have to have a whole bunch of clothes, but what we don't do, we don't work. As long as you go to high school in Germany, you don't work at all, because you go to school and you do your homework, and most of the time you're involved in something, but you don't grow up as fast as American kids do. That's the difference.
How about your social life? Would you find it different?
No.
Not so much?
No. I mean, you have friends and you do things you like. I think I personally, I'm more outside than American kids are. I have to ride my bike because I don't have a car, and I live in the country. I don't know. What else?
Did you find the American patriotism different than what you see in Germany today?
Yeah. Like, we still have our history, like the 40s, and we question our government more, it seems like. And like, I'm not patriotic, not too much. Like, I'm scared to stand up for the anthem, because it's the same anthem they sang like 40 years ago. And I cannot say Germany is the greatest, because you never know what's going to happen. I don't think anything will ever happen like it happened before, but you cannot say we are the best. And there are still a lot of people alive who did things to the Jews, whether they regret it or not. And as long as this exists and people accept it, I cannot be proud of my country. Although I think, I mean, the younger generation don't think about it anymore. They are not prejudiced anymore.
You don't think so?
No.
But do they carry a certain burden because of what happened to the young German person today?
Like, I feel that in a way I would like to go to Israel, and in a way I would like to do things. I would like to help them. But I didn't do it. I tried to make the world better than it is, but I don't want to change it totally, you know? It's just, I don't want to think Jewish people, everybody in Germany is like they were. But I don't know what to do.
Do you see any signs of how something like that could have come about at that time?
My grandma told me that Jewish people were nice, but they took a lot of money. They were rich. Supposedly they were smart. They were different. I don't know. They weren't accepted because they had another religion, because they really seemed to practice it really hard. And they didn't fit in then. People were jealous.
People were jealous. So that made it easier for them to be like a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Do you see signs today? You don't see signs of the same things in the young people, you don't think?
I think all over the world, people become more radical right now. Like in Germany, we have a lot of Turkish people, because we needed people who helped to rebuild Germany after the Second World War. And suddenly we have unemployment and too many people in Germany, and economically we are not that strong anymore as we used to be. And suddenly people start to discriminate against Turkish people, because people who came over from Turkey were not rich. They had to come to Germany to earn money, and a lot of them live really, really poor and send their money over to Turkey. And suddenly we say we don't want them anymore. And a lot of people don't think it's right. I mean, it's not right. And they cause problems like in the schools. It is hard to teach normal, when there are some kids who don't know the language very well.
So you have different discriminations now because there's different problems.
But not halfway as bad as was with Jews.
No.
It's just starts out like Americans, a lot of Americans discriminate against the blacks. There's always a distance between races.
Yes. But do you feel that feeling, that superiority feeling that existed during the Second World War of the German, ruling groups, do you feel that today?
I don't, but I see that some people have it. But when I see who has it, are people who are unemployed, who don't try to improve themselves, who have to have somebody who is poorer and worse than they are.
If you met someone today that spoke against Jews in Germany, even though there aren't any in your village, would you be able to speak up and say this is wrong or something?
Yeah, definitely. And I think most Germans would do that because we are really scared. And in a way, I don't feel really guilty, but I feel responsible for not carrying it on. I mean, that's our responsibility right now, not to carry it on. We cannot do anything against what happened because it happened and we came too late. And I don't blame anybody who lived in this time period and didn't speak up, because it was dangerous to speak up.
You don't find today your life is so much influenced by it, by what happened, only in certain ways?
Not really. It's just we don't have Jews anymore, and in a way, when I see like the cemetery, it was pretty, and I think they had part in our culture, and it's not there anymore. And I think it's a loss.
You must not say that you now walk the final way, because the darkened heavens hide the blue of day. The time we've longed for will at last draw near, and our steps as drums will sound that we are here. From land all green with palms to lands all white with snow, we now arrive with all our pain and all our woe, where our blood sprayed out and came to touch the land. There our courage and our faith will rise and stand.